All set.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order, August 5th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pursuant to Senate Bill number 2475, which was signed into law by Governor Baker on June 16, 2021. This meeting of the Southborough Conservation Commission will be conducted by remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and a requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Southborough's website at it's blank, www.southborough.
Town.com/remote meetings.
Thank you. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch or participate in the meeting may do so in the following manner by finding the meeting at the same website. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on Southborough's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Okay, first up, we've got approval of the minutes of 7/15/2021. Does anybody have any edits, amendments? Nope. Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes as written?
So
Second? You're muted, Jeffrey.
Second.
Here we go, thank you. All in favor by roll call vote?
Watson,
You're muted.
yes.
There you
Wittes,
Yes. Yes.
Geyer,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Pasamato.
Yes. Okay, then we have a notice of intent, Marlborough Road, roadway and pedestrian improvements. Did we get a DEP file number?
We just did, yes.
Okay. Can I have that, please?
Yep, let me look it up real quick. It is 290-1079.
Thank you. Okay, in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Southborough Wetlands Bylaw, the Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, August 5, 2021 at 7 p.m. The commission will consider a notice of intent for a project located along Marlborough Road on behalf of the Southborough DPW. The project description is roadway and pedestrian improvements.
So we have Dan from VHB on behalf of the town. Dan, you should be able to unmute. So if you want to get started, go right ahead. And if you have the plans up, as long as I have them, you can share your own screen.
Yes, I'll be sharing the set that was submitted, so I can do that momentarily. Okay, can everyone see that?
Tiny, but yes.
Okay, I'll do some zooming. All right, so good evening. My name is Dan Kanata. I'm an environmental scientist at VHB here on behalf of the town of Southborough. This is a notice of intent application for work proposed on Route 85 or Marlborough Road. Work is going to be along about 600 linear feet of the roadway and the roadway layout. This is in the vicinity of the St. Mark's School. Work is going to be really working on milling and overlay, repairing the roadway, installing sidewalks, and also additional pedestrian upgrades and drainage upgrades in the area. And the work is going to be required in both the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetland and is also in some areas encroaching into the 20-foot no disturb zone. This is an area of shrub scrub and forested wetland that abuts an intermittent stream beyond the project limits there. I have Amanda Bazinet from VHB. She is going to discuss some of the particulars of the project, and we will also get into regulatory compliance after that. Amanda?
Hi. Dan, can you go to sheet 6, please? That shows the underground structures, the pipes and everything as well. Yeah, just click on sheet 6, back a couple of sheets. So as Dan mentioned, we're making improvements to approximately 600 feet of Marlborough Road between St. Mark's Street, where it's being relocated, and to the north, the west driveway of the St. Mark's School. The majority of the area through here is recreational fields, some landscaping. We are going to be milling and overlaying the roadway, which currently has a width of about 22 feet, 1 lane in each direction. Right now, there are no sidewalks on either side of Route 85 because of the adjacent project, History Walk, that this is kind of an a bit alt to. The intention is to install a walkway that will vary in width from 5.5 feet to 6.5 feet, including the curb, along this side of the roadway here. Actually, I shouldn't say this side, I should say west side of the roadway because you can't see where I'm pointing. The sidewalk will increase the impervious area within the project limits. It will be relatively minor increase of approximately 1,490 square feet within the 20-foot buffer zone, but only 100 foot of that is going to increase the impervious square area. So the majority of it will be working in already disturbed areas. We are, as part of this project, as Dan mentioned, also going to be installing new drainage structures, and we will be tying into the existing pipe that goes from the drop inlet on the easterly side of Marlborough Road, and making improvements to the existing outfall on the westerly side of the street, including installing a new flared end section and a new riprap pad that has been sized as large as can be accommodated without actually impacting the wetlands themselves. In addition, there is a stone wall along the westerly side of the road that is in very poor condition, and it will be rebuilt as part of this project as well.
Great. Thank you, Amanda. And one other thing I'd just like to know, we are proposing erosion and sedimentation controls along the limits of
yes.
work between the roadway and work area and the resource area adjacent there.
Correct. And we typically install, as part of our erosion control, silt sacks in the drainage structures as well. And I didn't mention it, but the drainage structures, the 2 new catch basins that are proposed, will have deep sumps and hoods as well.
Okay. Any other presentation materials or?
That is Amanda, unless you have anything else you'd like to discuss.
Nope, this is the majority of the work that is being proposed. As you can see, the green line is the one, there's 3 green lines on here: the 100-foot buffer zone, the 20-foot no disturb zone that's from the town's local bylaw, and then we have the limit of the BVW also shown. I do want to note, we did give consideration to placing the walkway on the easterly side of the road. It was looked at, but that would necessitate having 2 crossings, which was not desirable for a number of reasons, but in part because this sidewalk is to provide connectivity. There are long-term plans to develop a sidewalk along the entire length of Route 85. The intent would be to try and keep it all on the easterly side of the roadway. Having additional crossings is an increased safety concern. The majority of the pedestrians we expect to be using this will be children, because it'll be accessible to the History Walk and the park that's being built down at St. Mark's. The other concern about placing it on the eastern side of the street, right now, everything is country drainage out there, and there is an existing grassed channel that all of the drainage is collected in and directed towards the drop inlet that you can see at approximately station 722 plus 15 on the right there, that drop inlet that we're keeping. So if we were to install the sidewalk on that side of the road, we'd now be trapping all that drainage. We'd have to now collect it, treat it, and then it would still be going to the wetland. And that would increase the amount of impervious area that's getting to the wetland on that side of the road as well. So there were a number of reasons why in the end it was deemed to be a better solution to place it on the western side of the street.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you exactly that question, so thank you for the details.
Okay.
As far as the 20-foot no disturb area, is that temporary disturbance or permanent?
So approximately 100 square feet will be a permanent disturbance for the construction of the sidewalk itself. The sidewalk is 5.5 feet, and then it does increase as you get beyond the drain manhole that you see there. It goes from 5.5 to 6.5 feet. I do want to mention that the reason we didn't reduce the sidewalk width through there was because, as you can see on the plans, there's a stone masonry retaining wall proposed at the back of walk. The concern was if it wasn't paved, you would end up with a small strip of gravel area that would end up getting just kind of vegetated and messy. It would be difficult to maintain and likely wouldn't be very well maintained because grass doesn't really tend to grow well in a very narrow strip like that. So for maintenance reasons, we paved all the way to the wall.
Okay. Are you proposing any sort of mitigation to the permanent disturbance in terms of some kind of replication someplace or something?
So we're not
Or
actually
you're just going to eat it up and that's it?
Well, we're not proposing any permanent impacts at all to the BVW. There is going to be impacts in the no disturb zone. The remainder of the no disturb zone is going to be returned to its existing conditions. We are, aside from the fact that we are making repairs to the wall that is failing, and I think that repair is going to be necessary no matter what. You're going to have to eventually fix that and create a disturbance there within the no disturb zone. I do think that we are creating a betterment because right now the existing head wall is failing heading into the wetlands where the existing outfall is, and there isn't energy dissipation there that we're providing. So we will be, creating an improvement from that perspective.
Okay, thank you. I'll open it up to other commission members for questions, comments. Who would like to go first?
I can go, then I can mute myself again. So I understand the scope of what you're looking at, Dan and Amanda, and kind of nice presentation for us. So thank you for that. And I'm very familiar with the historical walk and also with the sidewalk project because I'm on the master plan. So it's a topic that's very dear to our 2020 master plan in terms of increasing the the safety and the connectivity around the town. I would though advocate for some additional mitigation because even though it's only 100 foot, I think that's something that we've done on other projects, and I think that 20-foot buffer zone is very important to us as a kind of a reference point. So.
Is there a specific type of mitigation that's been proposed in the past that you would like to see done here?
Melissa, what would your advice be here?
So Dan, I have not provided mitigation before in a no disturb zone. Do you have any recommendations that we've done on other projects?
So on other projects, less so with no disturb zones, but work in riverfront area, we've proposed native shrub plantings, particularly ones that provide potential for food options for wildlife habitat, frequently nannyberry or dogwood or other plants that might enhance over what might be an area that doesn't provide as much suitable food sources for these species. If that's something that the commission would be interested in, we could evaluate that.
So I have a question with respect to the outflow pipe there. Is that
Yes.
riprap on the outflow?
It will be it's stone for pipe ends, yes. So it's
Okay.
stones.
And that is the closest proximity to anything that's having to do with the actually bordering vegetated wetland itself, the wetland line.
Correct. And the erosion controls between it, yes.
So I mean, it's tough to tell from this plan, but it looks like the amount of space between the end of the riprap and the actual wetland line is, I don't know, a couple of feet.
That's a pretty good rough estimate, yes.
Okay. So when I was talking about mitigation, I was really focused on that area
Mhm.
of having that riprap being that close to the edge of the wetland, and whatever the water volume is going to be coming out of that, just kind of bowling over whatever vegetation there is in that area, that being that close was my concern.
So we actually sized it that way to make it the maximum size we could to get the most energy dissipation possible. It is larger than a standard stone for pipe end treatment that we would do on a Mass DOT project, which is typically just a 5x5 pad beyond the end of a flared end section. But we have found, based on the flows, typically you want something a little bit more substantial than that if you can fit it. So we did the maximum we could fit between the flared end section without actually touching the BVW, purposefully, in the intent of trying to get as much treatment and energy dissipation as possible before the water flows got into the wetlands. If it's not preferable, we could look at doing DOT standard stone for pipe ends and pull it back, but then you would be getting a little bit less treatment.
Chair,
Who spoke?
this is Matt.
Hi, Matt.
Hi. Can I give a comment on that?
You can.
So one of the questions that I had in my memo that I'm not sure was fully addressed, I think for the most part, all my comments were addressed. But this one, I wasn't really sure on the response. So where the drop inlet is for the country drainage on the opposite side of the road from the wetland, when I looked at that, it appears, and based on the plan, it appears as a 12-inch pipe that comes down off the school and is dumping into that drop inlet that then goes across into the wetland. Is that correct?
Are you referring to the note where it says invert 12-inch RCP elevation?
Yes.
That is actually just the label pulled off to the side. So there are no pipes entering the drop inlet. There's only one pipe exiting the drop inlet. So I apologize if our response was unclear, because I thought you meant mainly the channelized flow that was getting directed to the inlet, because there are no pipes coming off of the St. Mark's site. That is, it should have a little arrowhead on it.
Okay, that was, somebody inspected that and confirmed that? Because I looked, I mean, I didn't crawl down there too far, but I thought it looked like there was a pipe discharging, and then there's also a little 2-inch plastic PVC pipe that's in there too. I wasn't sure what the source of that was or purpose.
Then I certainly can recommend that we go out and review it again. Based on the information I had, I wasn't aware that it was there, but we can certainly take another look in the field to confirm it. If there are,
and the reason why I sort of raised that question gets to the need for the sizing of that flared end section and the riprap around it. Just want to be sure that that's been modeled properly, and it's not just presumably you did some modeling to size it, right? Based on the flows, the existing drainage flows, and then the proposed drainage flows.
A StormCAD model was prepared for the project. And as I said, the stone for pipe ends was sized as large as we could fit without impacting the wetland. But I will confirm that there are no other pipes, and if so, where they're coming from. But I'll have to get back to that.
And Mark, I guess I would, based on I mean, that slope is somewhat eroding now based on the current flows that are going through there. It's not bad, but there is some erosion. So I think certainly working in that area and then adding additional drainage off the road has the potential to destabilize that slope more. So I guess I would want to see as much protection as possible, unless that the discharge could somehow be split where it's not all going in one place, and if potentially the catch basins were, to discharge in other areas, but then you're potentially increasing disturbance and additional areas for the town to have to maintain. That would be the only thought, but and I agree with both Mark and Judith with typically the commission requires some sort of mitigation. So if I think that might be worthwhile looking into. The other thing that was noted out there on the St. Mark's property was an area of dumping of lawn clippings that I presume St. Mark's is going to rectify, but that may create an area that potentially could use some revegetation, and maybe that could be the mitigation area if one is needed.
I know that we were advised that St. Mark's maintenance and facilities has been notified of the issue with the clippings, but we'll definitely take note of that as far as potential for mitigation.
Where were those clippings being dumped?
I believe Matt had noted it was between flags 100 and flags 101, which are kind of on the upper leftmost corner of the BVW.
It's right next to the white
Oh, the
shed
field.
there beside the baseball field.
Okay.
Maybe I'm just not seeing it. Did those rain gardens end up making it onto the drawing?
So there are, can you zoom out a little bit, Dan? So there are 2 rain gardens as part of the larger History Walk project. This was a bid alt because there were some concerns about whether or not there would be sufficient funds to construct all of the sidewalk and all of the roadway improvements. So when we filed this, we focused on this area as the part of the filing instead of submitting to you the whole larger plan set, because this was the only area that had jurisdiction, had anything jurisdictional on it. But if you look at the area about 50 feet beyond this heavy black line, which is our kind of limit of this particular portion of the project, there's 2 drainage structures. Those are actually located in what is a rain garden, and it is connecting to the south. There is another rain garden that's being installed in the park on the other side of the new St. Mark's Drive. So the detail was included because you can see kind of the outline of that rain garden here, but none of the rain gardens are the flows are not being directed to this jurisdictional area.
Or any other comments from commission members?
The riprap in the head wall is on the other side of the masonry wall, which I think is about 8 feet tall, give or take, right?
I am not 100% sure on the height of the wall. I apologize.
So
I'm just pulling up the sections to confirm. So the 8 feet is actually the overall height, including the 4 feet of embedment.
Oh, okay. I was just trying to figure out if it would be, how would DPW get out to maintain that if it was surrounded completely by the wall?
Dan, could you please go to to page 21 on the plans? So in here, you can see the cross-section view of the wall. There is a 2-foot level, and as you can see, the overall height is 8 feet from the top of the wall, kind of to the bottom of the wall. You have 4 feet of embedment so that you don't end up having issues with frost and everything won't overturn. So from a maintenance perspective, they're going to be able to kind of walk along the frontage of it if they need to access it so that they can do any repairs or cleaning as necessary.
And the drain manhole it dumps into it, none of that's in the oil water separator or anything along those lines, right?
No. So We did discuss with the town whether or not we should be doing something like a storm scepter system, but right now the town does not have any equipment or a vac truck in order to maintain something like a storm scepter. So something with greater treatment wasn't considered at this area.
Bummer. Okay, thank you.
And there are hoods on both of the catch basins before they do tie into that manhole.
Any other comments, questions? No? Okay. So I think there's a couple items that need to be cleaned up here before we move this forward. I mean, I think you need to go out there and you need to check out that
The drop
that catch
inlet.
basin to see where these pipes are coming from, or if they're just dead end pipes or whatever they are. So, is there anything else the commission is looking for on this application?
Mark,
Yeah, Carl.
are we still going to request some type of mitigation? I mean, you were summarizing, so.
Well, we put it out there on the table. It's up to the
Yes.
applicant to
Okay,
come back with.
you were summarizing the things that need to be done. So.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, sure.
One quick thing, Mark, before you go, is there going to be any staging or stockpiling for this project?
You mean for the construction itself? So it has been put out to bid, but it is not currently going to go to construction. Obviously, we still need to get the permitting approval. They will be starting construction, I believe, of the park and the rest of the history walk. I don't know. Obviously, when they get approval, will determine whether or not they can begin this. I don't know where their staging area is going to be, honestly, but we can certainly ask if anything has been decided.
Since it's larger than our jurisdiction, if they could propose outside of the 100-foot, that would be ideal for most of it.
Jerry, we can hardly hear you. We see your
I'm
lips
sorry.
moving, but
I'll speak louder. I'm sorry. I was just
thank
trying
you. I don't know if it's just me. I could just barely hear you.
if they could do it outside the 100-foot buffer, any of the staging or stockpiling, that would be favorable to me.
Or we
I
can
think
just
that can
condition
be
that.
accommodated.
Well, we
Well, I
can
was-
condition that it has to be outside the resource area.
I'd like that too, but.
There you go.
And like you said, I think that can be accommodated because there is more work going on in this area.
Hey, Mark, one late question, if you don't mind. We got the DEP number. Did we get any comments from DEP on this?
No
Did we get
comments.
No comments. Okay, thank you.
All right, so we're going to continue this. The next is the next meeting date okay? Which is the 26th.
6.
I think it is. Dan, you good with that?
Yes, I should be available.
All right.
All right. So do I hear a motion to continue this to the August 26th?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor by roll call vote.
Watson,
Yes.
Wittes?
Yes.
Guyer,
Yes.
Heat,
Yes.
Gregory? Russ, you're muted. That's right. Pasamato.
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have an amended order of conditions, 10 Pearl Street, map 2, lot 16. In accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Southborough Wetlands Bylaw, the Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, August 5, 2021 at 7:10 p.m. or a little bit thereafter. The commission will consider an amendment to an order of conditions for a project located at 10 Pearl Street, map 2, lot 16 for the applicant Sandra Colligan. The requested amendment is for the addition of a garage.
All right. Good evening.
Hi, Vito.
Hello. It's Vito Colonna, Cornerstone Engineering. So this was for Sandy Colligan, 10 Pearl Street. We were here maybe a month ago or so. They had approval for the septic repair replacement. And now they're looking to do an addition off the side of the house for a garage. I'm just gonna share my screen if that's all right. Okay. Okay, so this is I'll zoom out just a little bit. So this was the site. Previously, we had the septic repair on this side. That was the subject of the original notice of intent and order of conditions. So now they're looking to add a garage off this side of the house right here. So we've shown that kind of garage going off. In the back of the garage, we've placed a roof drain dry well that's sized for a 100-year storm off of this roof area as mitigation for that garage impervious area. The grading out the back, we did maintain that at that 20-foot buffer zone. That's right in through this area. There's kind of the dash line that goes through. Sorry about that. And then there's erosion controls placed right along that rear line. I think if you remember during the last hearings, there was discussion about the inner 20-foot buffer where there was some trash and debris to be removed. So that area does get a little work in it, but we have set that erosion control essentially right at that 20-foot line. The only other work that they're proposing would be to extend the drive up towards the garage also to make that connection from Pearl Street up to the garage. I think that's pretty much my presentation of it. Hand it back.
So this was a septic system that couldn't go on the side of the house where the garage is because the soils weren't suitable.
Right. Yeah, and there wasn't enough space actually on that side.
Okay.
Just to fit it over there. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, you can kind of see the size of that septic wouldn't fit in there with setbacks to boundaries and foundations and such.
Was this a 1-car or 2-car garage?
It would be a 1-car.
Okay.
That's just a 12-foot wide. It's 16 from the porch to the corner here. But then that door would be, the driveway is about 12 feet wide. So you'd fit a single bay, unless they could squeeze two, but it'd be really tight.
And I just saw the hash marks. I wasn't sure what happened inside the building.
Yeah, I think the intent is it would just be a single bay.
Okay.
And they wanted to have access. It wraps around the back of the building here because there's a walkout right here it's not a true walkout. I think it goes down a couple steps and they get water in there. So they'd like to have basement access through the back of the garage. So there'd be stairs in the back here that would go down into the basement. So you have internal access to your basement rather than going around the back like that.
Okay. Okay. Any of the commission members have questions, comments? No.
I just also wanted to add really quickly, Sandy gave me a call yesterday because they found an old well out back. And I know Sandy's on here. Did Dennis from Board of Health come out and make a determination of how he wanted that closed up?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. He wanted it filled in and crushed if possible. And Josh was going to do that dependent on the weather. So if he didn't get to it today, he said he would do it tomorrow.
It looked like it was an old hand dug well. It's definitely a safety concern. It's kind of pretty much where Vito's cursor is, kind of a little behind the septic. So it was my recommendation as well to close it up because it's very unsafe and not usable for anything anyways. So I just wanted to let the commission know, and I was just going to note it in the amendments if that was okay with you guys.
Yeah, definitely. Don't want anybody dropping in that.
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
I don't have any other questions. If nobody else does, it all looks okay to me.
Do we need to specifically issue the stormwater waiver, or is it just fine with the amendment?
If you would like to make a separate motion, I think that's probably the cleanest, and I will note it in the amendment that the commission has made a formal motion to waive. Yeah, if you guys have questions about that, I kind of explained it in my memo a little bit more on why kind of it makes sense to waive it considering the lot size and the projects.
Well, I was a little confused in that point because the septic's a repair, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that means the septic is part of this, really. Right? And if the disturbance aspect of the garage doesn't exceed 50% of the lot, then there is no waiver to be issued.
Right. So it gets a little tricky sometimes. So when you're having kind of one active disturbance, so kind of what Vito did is he was, and Sandy was up front and talking about the total disturbance between the two projects. And so if they were split, like, which is, well, you know, within their limits to do, the septic is exempt and therefore the garage would be underneath. So they're being forward and saying that would go above the 50%, you know, per the bylaw, but they are infiltrating, which meets the intent of the bylaw. So, you know, technically, I think issuing the formal waiver just in case they do go back to say it. But otherwise, you know, they would be within their rights to file them separately and really cause more active disturbance than they're doing right now.
All right, issuing something that's not required seems a little odd to me, but
I mean, you can just, if you want to instead just make a finding of fact saying that the commission agreed that a stormwater permit was not required instead of issuing a waiver, if that is more agreeable to the commission.
I'm more comfortable with that.
Okay.
Otherwise, I think we're going down a slippery slope.
Yep, understood. Yep, so I'll just state that given the septic is exempt, there are two separate projects.
Okay. Is there everybody else okay with that sort of positioning?
I agree.
Jeff, were you raising your hand? It was behind your name. Oh, thumbs up. Okay.
Thumbs up. Sorry.
Oh, you know, we were in person one time. Now we got to get used to being virtual again.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, so who would like to make the motion?
So moved.
Are we just
What is
making
the
this
motion?
motion to close first? So we'll do two, motion to close and then motion to issue.
Okay, so the first one is a motion to issue the amendment as the applicants requested.
A motion to close the hearing.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, a motion to close the hearing.
Yes.
I motion to close the hearing.
Okay,
I second.
All right.
okay, all in favor?
Watson,
Yes.
Wittes,
Yes.
Guyer,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Gregory,
Yes.
Casamano.
Yes.
All right, so now a motion to issue the amendment with the findings of fact as we discussed.
Yes. Yes. That motion is now on the floor. So you hear somebody voting to move it forward.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
All right, Watson,
Yes.
Guyer,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Gregory,
Yes.
Wittes,
Yes.
Casamano.
Yes.
All set. Sandy and Vito, I will probably get this to you either tomorrow or Monday, and it just has to be recorded. So you can drop off another check again and I'll send it in to you, or you can record it yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Everyone.
Okay, have a good night.
You too.
Okay, next is amended stormwater management decision. This is 6 to 8 Turnpike Road, lot 39, map 39, lot 26. Change to the underground infiltration for expanding parking area. In accordance with the position of the Southfield Stormwater and Erosion Control Bylaw, Southfield Zoning Code, Chapter 174, Section 13.5, the Southfield Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Thursday, July 15th. Oh, this is the wrong one. On Thursday, August 5, at 7 p.m. on the petition of 6 Turnpike Road LLC for approval of an amendment to a stormwater management permit for the modification underground infiltration for expanded parking areas shown on the town's assessors map 39 parcel 26.
Good evening, Peter
Yes.
Bemis here on behalf of 6 Turnpike. And We have a revised plan that we have submitted to Fuss and O'Neill. I'm disappointed we didn't get back comments yet, but I was probably being too overly optimistic to think we would get them by this meeting. We did address Fuss's comments. I'm presuming that the commission received those. There was an overlap with planning board. So some items are really site plan related and less conservation related. So I probably just outlined the ones that are more conservation related. Even though LID is really a planning board item, I do want to start with that. So a new sweat plan was developed for this site with an O&M associated with it. So we have a standalone plan that we didn't have in the initial submission. And the project does add impervious areas, so there is a increase in volume with the proposal. We did not try to take advantage of infiltration within this basin. This was an existing bioretention area, so it didn't seem like it was appropriate to do an analysis that way. However, what our system does do that the previous one didn't is the previous plan relied 100% on deep sump catch basins to get pre-treatment, and the proposal that we put forward now is a combination of those existing deep sump catch basins and then pre-treatment units. So we're using Context CDS units, and there are 2 of those proposed. We still have our underground galley chambers that will provide the total volume of storage in order to mitigate the storm events well below what the existing rates of discharge are from the basin. So there's actually going to be a decrease of stormwater going out into the Route 9 collection system. And having a facility on Route 9, I can tell you that is a good thing because the catch basins in front of my office often are backing up. Let's see, what else do I want to point out? We did do a soil test. Fuss asked for a test pit done in the basin. The basin has well-drained soils below it. So actually there would actually be the potential for infiltration, therefore offsetting the 0.2 acre feet of increase that the site does produce. But again, for documentation purposes, we didn't go there with our calculations. We made a couple of the comment changes that Fuss had on the plans. And I'm just trying to think of what else you folks might want. Again, the standalone SWEP does address the maintenance of the new systems that we're proposing here. I just filed with Melissa an annual inspection report for the site because one hadn't been done up to this point. I used a simple plan for that just to document. We did clean all of the deep sump catch basins and we noted that and performed an inspection. When we go forward, we would have a much more sophisticated plan that would be in 8.5 by 11 format, so we could document the new systems that are in place. I know there was discussion about TSS and phosphorus and nitrogen removal in Fuss's comments. We do provide the requisite TSS removal where the previous plan did not, but we are asking to not do any further treatment for phosphorus or nitrogen. It's well beyond the scope of this proposal. Would actually provide a cost premium of about 40%, making the project untenable financially. So this is one of those areas where if somebody feels strongly and we need to ask for a waiver, I'll ask for the waiver. But I think the proposal still stands on its own merits because we are actually meeting the pre-treatment requirements under this proposal as designed now, whereas previously I don't believe that they did. There was some discussion from Fuss about the way HydroCAD was developed. The previous program had used a 2.7 TC. We typically would use a 5, and Amy asked for a 6 minute, and we did 6. We just went forward and did it that way so we could analyze the whole site. and meet her requirement. There was some discussion about converting Cornerstone's as-built plan into an existing conditions plan. We just took all of those references away. Cornerstone did reissue their plan stating that the site was actually located in Southborough and not Framingham. Both Planning Board and Conservation has that plan now. And there was also discussion about plantings. We provided 8 red maples around the parking lot, and then if there are any shrubs or trees that can be uprooted and transplanted, they would be done on the east and south areas of this site. I think that is it. We are a 3-sheet set. Again, the fourth sheet would be the record plan that both planning and conservation have on record. Sheet 2 is our details, and sheet 3 is the standalone SWEP plan. Even though we're not altering an acre of land, we needed to update how this project would be managed going forward. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Any commission members have any questions, comments? Carl, Russ, Sherry?
No.
Who was Jeff? No?
I think we need to see the latest response from Fuss and O'Neill, right?
Yeah.
I anticipated that, so I'm prepared to continue. I would just add or close with the fact that T&L Auto is the primary tenant at this facility. They, I think, have a very successful business. We have our vehicles maintained there, and he just needs parking. Those who drive by see that he's parking around his detention basin. And I'm sure with these parking spaces available in his parking lot, he would not be doing that. So I'm hopeful that we can get approval from commission and from planning board so that he can properly park in his parking lot. Thank you.
Yeah, based on what I've seen, it's not every day, but there are some days where waiting for people to pick their cars up or they dropped them off early or whatever's going on, he's definitely tight on parking and, getting very creative as to where they're trying to put these cars. And it's going to be an ultimate improvement over what is, happening now on a, I don't want to say daily basis, but on a periodic basis, certainly. And that's going to continue. That's just a fact.
Well, he's got a good business, so
yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, so people drop cars off at night because they can't get there in the morning. They may stay an extra night. I mean, that just happens, and things get full. He's got to have some place to put them without parking them in the detention basin or on the edge of it. That's just not a good thing, in my opinion. We did not receive Fuss and O'Neill's comments. Peter's comments.
Not in response to the latest comment, Peter's latest response, no.
Okay. I think for completeness, we probably need to do that. Peter, you did say that you are prepared to continue.
Yes, I am. Melissa, I don't think we really have a timeline on this, so I don't think I have to, I'm willing to continue to the next meeting. I believe everything is in place. We'll have a planning board meeting, hopefully between this meeting and your next meeting. So that'll give us a chance to see what comments they have, and we'll address them promptly, because I'd like to see this work done quickly so that everything can be stabilized well before winter 22 arrives. So that's the plan.
Yeah, certainly that would be the goal, in my opinion. Or, snow gets up there and complicates it more.
Right.
Okay, unless anybody else has any comments, we'll continue this in the next hearing, which is the 26th.
Yes.
Oh, I can't remember that date. Do I hear a motion to continue to our next meeting on the 26th of August? So moved. A second? I think Sherry said a second. Okay, Carl.
No, that's fine.
All in favor?
Watson,
Yes.
Guyer,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Gregory,
Yes.
Wittes,
Yes.
Passamato.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. All right, that's that concludes the public hearings. Now we have new and/or continued business. First up is 1 Lindbrook Road, stockpiling grading concerns. Melissa, do you want to bring us up to date on this?
Yes, there's someone in the attendees. Yeah, I think Chris, the owner, is here. So hold on one second.
Okay.
So Chris had submitted a sketch plan that I will share. Just give me 1 second. And then Chris, once you're fully loaded in, maybe you can discuss kind of what you submitted and your thought process.
Oh, am I in?
We can hear you.
Oh, you can, okay. I'm doing it on an iPad, my computer's shit the bed, so. Yeah, so I mean, I just kind of drew it up as, in relation to the garage, I guess. That was the area that was disturbed with my 2 stockpiles. Right now, I got the erosion control just around the stockpiles. And I'll put it farther out where I have the straw wattle marked off there. And then I was going to remove the stockpiles and just loam and seed with a meadow mix or an approved, seed mixture that you guys want, to basically restore what was there. I know it's not an engineered drawing.
Did we lose you?
Oh, I don't know. Did you?
Oh, I don't know. I heard some clunks and thuds. I didn't know if we lost you.
Oh, maybe. No, can you still hear me?
I can hear you now, yeah. Okay. Melissa, do you have any thoughts and comments? You've been out there?
I guess it's whether this is acceptable to the commission. If you want some more specifications on timelines, how the stockpiles will be removed, if you want anything with the Japanese knotweed. I think the meadow mix we can specify to be from New England wetland plants or an equivalent. It's just kind of up to the commission if you're looking for something more, whether it's a written narrative or if this suffices. Typically we see a little bit more when we ask for a restoration plan.
When do you plan on removing the stockpiles?
I don't know, probably gonna do it like end of August or September. I know you said the growing season was better then.
Well, certainly I would want to see the lumen seed down and ready to start growing probably by the teens of August. Russ, would you agree?
Teens of August or teens of September?
I mean, teens of September.
15 September.
Yeah. So, I think, getting the stockpiles out of there end of August is probably a, good timeline, and then, give yourself a couple weeks to get the lumen seed down.
Okay. I think that's doable.
Yeah. The only thing I don't really see in this drawing that you made here is, how far is it from that solid line that goes top to bottom on the drawing all the way over to where your, straw wattles are, erosion control? Is that, 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet? I have no clue.
Yeah, it's probably roughly 30 feet at the max area, and it's kind of like a horseshoe coming up. It gets less as it comes up to the driveway.
And as far as the knotweed is concerned, were you proposing to remove any of that, or what are we gonna do?
Yeah, I mean it's grown up It's definitely grown up, so I'll remove that as well when I'm in there, removing the stockpiles, so that I can, get the loam and seed down in those areas. There's knotweed that's been there for, I don't know how long. I knew the previous owners of the property and it was there when they were there. So, it's, I didn't disturb. There's definitely sections of knotweed that are there that I never disturbed, like in this area. I wasn't gonna go disturbing those. I was just gonna kind of, get the stockpiles out of there and just clean up what I have here, which is what I previously did, so that I can loam and seed it. I wasn't gonna go disturbing beyond where I already disturbed.
Yeah, I would say to Melissa's point, it would be good to have, some sort of a narrative from you, basically, writing down what you're telling us verbally now. So
Okay.
we got, some narrative to go by.
I can make some revisions and put it on another drawing or this one and email it back to her, so she has it.
Yeah, I think that would be good, so that we've got some, some form of reference here, so we can understand. Other commission members' comments, questions.
Yeah, the knotweed battle is tough. I mean, but if you're going to do that, you probably would want to go soon with the knotweed, because it's probably it flowers, I think, probably towards the end of August. If you're going to take it out, probably take it out now. That would be best before it throws seed all over the place.
Yeah. Okay.
Rush, you went off mute. You're going to say something?
I was echoing Carl's thoughts. It certainly makes sense to get after it, sooner than later. Also, I've been trying to watch, since we're on knotweed, for who's that guy in Mount Vickery? We permitted his backyard, Chuck Black's kid, and see how that went. He was going to dig it out, so I'm very curious about how best to battle this.
And yeah, knotweed is wicked. It is very hard to eradicate. Yeah.
The state comes by and mows that area, so I think if we get some good meadow mix established this fall, come next spring, they'll be handling it. They've already come by once this year to mow, so. Like I said, I know it's been over there for, I don't know, 15 years, and it's it's basically stayed in that corner. It's not like it's gone all the way down the trees or up to my house or anything like that.
Well, you have another 15 years and it might get there. Who knows?
Maybe.
All right, anybody else have any comments? No? All right, so Chris, I think what we're asking for is some narrative of basically what you verbally presented here tonight. If you could get that in writing in some form and get that back into Melissa.
Okay.
Will that have the dimensions of the
I can put some
circle?
Yeah, if you get your tape measure out or something and give us some, distance references.
Sure.
Great, thanks.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, is that on this one?
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you, Chris. All right, next up is 155 Main Street, clearing of debris within jurisdictional areas. Melissa, you have an update on this, right?
Yes, myself, Carl and Matt went out this week, and I think I will let Matt earn his keep and discuss what he found.
Yeah, so as Melissa said, we met out there, met with the owner, and just kind of looked at where the impact disturbed areas were, brush piles, things like that. And I did sort of a cursory inspection, determine where it appears the wetland boundary would be. And there's definitely, there's a natural wetland system there. Part of it's been disturbed. Those disturbed areas are a little bit harder to determine exactly where the boundary would be, but based on, sort of what's growing there now, what's recovered, and what the soils look like, there's sort of a low area that most people would look at and say that's likely to be the wetland. I think that's where it is. So there's one fairly sizable brush area that's sort of in behind the wetland area now. And it's pretty much woody, viney material. It doesn't appear as though there was any soils stockpiled in there. And I think at this point, going in and removing that would probably do more harm than good. I think my recommendation would be that pile can stay, and just let it naturally decompose and obviously not have anything further added to it. The other brush piles that are sort of on the end of the disturbed area, that are accessible through upland, could either potentially stay, or if the commission felt they should go, probably could be removed fairly easily. Again, it appears to be all sort of woody, viney material that I think will just break down over time. Not a lot of soil or sort of problematic areas. Based on the vines we saw growing out there, that I think the property owner had was trying to address was a combination of grape, some sort of native wild grape, and of course our favorite plant, Asiatic bittersweet. That it was probably what had killed the trees. And when he took down the trees, got rid of some of the vines and everything. So the bittersweet's obviously going to come back over time as the grape is coming back now. So what we talked about with the owner, we sort of asked him what his further plans were. He talked about potentially doing something on the slope area that will be within the 20-foot buffer zone to the wetland. I think for aesthetic reasons as much as anything. He talked a little bit about wanting to prevent any erosion, but there's really no apparent or risk of erosion in that area. So I think it's more just aesthetics, sort of better defining the edge of lawn and dressing it up a little bit. So we talked to him about if that's his preference. Obviously, any work in buffer zone, you need to speak to the commission through Melissa about. And then, but we thought if it was plantings or potentially just putting some stones to kind of define the edge of the lawn, depending on where that went, he may or may not need a permit. So the vegetation that was coming back in the disturbed area, fortunately, was mostly native stuff, sort of native early successional plants that you would expect to see, like smartweeds, fireweed, things like that. That'll probably grow this year, and then next year other things will come in, again, hopefully native stuff. We talked to him about potentially throwing down some native wildflower mix in that area if he's concerned about aesthetics. And it might be a nice area to have some nicer wildflowers growing. So I think how it was left, and Melissa, correct me if I'm wrong, but we were kind of leave it potentially until next year, where you can kind of see how this area kind of evolves vegetation wise over the next 12 months or so. And then depending on what he feels he needs, he can come back. And, we said to him that if he does need to do work, he'd probably have to have a delineation and a survey done and everything, obviously that would cost some money. And then it may be in his interest just to kind of, work within the existing lawn and not touch too much else, unless it's just, doing some native plantings or something. That's pretty much where we left it, but Carl and Melissa, feel free to correct any of that as needed.
Yeah, no correction needed, but I think we did talk him out of his plan on the slope. He wanted to put bark mulch down, take all, we called them the weeds, knock out all the weeds and bark mulch the slope going down to the wetland. I think we talked him out of that. So hopefully he won't go ahead and do that. So, and we also stressed to him that we like, some kind of definition along that edge of the lawn, which would separate the lawn from the protected wetland. Either, as he was talking about, stones, which would be great. That would be fine.
Okay. So where we left it is leave it alone. Let's see what it looks like next year. See what plans he has or hasn't, does or doesn't have moving forward with it, and we'll go from there. Okay.
I think we all agree that any type of activity now would probably be more harm than good at the moment.
Okay. All right. And he was completely in agreement and understood.
Yes.
Do we need to issue any kind of a letter to him?
If you would like to, I can put together kind of a typical letter saying that this issue has been closed out. Next year, if you decide to move forward with any other improvements, then you must submit a formal application with the commission.
Yeah, I think I would like to put a little bit more than a letter than that, basically saying that, based on the meeting you've had and, what has been concluded at this point.
Right.
And, what his activities in that area should and should not be.
Okay.
Right. To Carl's point, you think, you believe, you talked him out of the bark mulch, but you don't know.
Yeah, right. Right, right.
So I think we should probably, put that on a letter, specifically stating that that's not desired. And what is desired is to, leave it as is and let it grow over a year, and then take a look at it next year, and then whatever work he thinks he wants to do there that would require, some sort of an assessment from the Conservation Commission, either in an application, in a filing, or an RDA or something.
Yep. Can do.
Okay.
Did we already imply to him or tell him it's okay to do the native seed mix? And if so, should we make it clear what exactly that means or give him some specific options?
I think if he was going to put native seed mix, it would be if the disturbance or if he clears out some of the area next year. Right now it's very heavily grown in and vegetated. So, throwing a seed mix down now might not necessarily be worth it. But if you would like to specify, I can, say if you are going to, please contact the office for an approved seed mix, and we can use our standard New England Wetland Plants wildlife mix.
Maybe I'm confused a little bit. I think the way you left it was, don't touch it, leave it alone.
Yes.
Don't put seed mix down.
Well, the message may be confused. I think what I heard, right, is, see if there's, what I heard was a suggestion that it was from Matt, that you didn't have to disturb the earth. You could just spread the seed mix in with the existing vegetation, and then that would, on its own nature, be able to germinate and grow. And I think we made this, and I think we made the suggestion that if you did that now in the fall, by the nature of this stuff that I've learned from being on the commissions, if you do that in the fall, the wintering over helps it to germinate. So I think we said that to him. Matt, did I hear that correctly? So correct me.
Yeah, Carl, that's pretty accurate. That was really the gist of it. That if
Okay.
because again, he's looking at these plants that for the most part were native plants, and rightfully so. They're not the most beautiful wildflower plants in the world, but they are, there's nothing wrong with them from an ecological standpoint. And if he was looking to quote unquote dress it up a little bit, if he wanted to get some seed, and I said to him, just kind of throw it in there, and you're not necessarily raking it to the ground. So the success rate is probably going to be lower than normal, but it's not going to do any harm either. And maybe some of that stuff takes, and he ends up with some, some quote unquote prettier flowering plants that's more to his liking. maybe he's more likely to just to leave that alone. So, Melissa could certainly memorialize something like that in the letter briefly, just to make sure we're all on the same page and he doesn't go out there with a backhoe and say, oh, I'm planting my wildflowers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you. All right, anything else on this topic? All right, moving on, let's see, discussion of activities, Fisher Road, Chestnut Hill Road. They're gonna come in the next meeting,
Correct, yes.
okay? So we'll table that until then. Next up is a request for certificate of compliance, DEP number 290-10-16, 141 Deerfoot Road.
Yes, so this is the two lots, the 141 and 139. So we're just going to talk about 141 Deerfoot. They've submitted their COC request. I uploaded some pictures and review to the Dropbox. We've kind of been out there periodically throughout the years. So the last amendment, because they built the boulder wall, they put in the pheno rods, and they actually put in some not monuments, but just ground flush granite markers too, that are very aesthetically pleasing as well, that are in the lawn area while the pheno stakes are on the other side of the boulder wall. So it's a really great boundary. It makes a lot of sense. And then in the backyard, a lot of it, instead of stereotypical yard, is kind of like a mulch playground area. And I did get confirmation after my review that the mitigation trees were planted and that they are successful. The only thing that we don't have is 2 years worth of monitoring reports, which in the past, when this has happened, the commission has just conditioned that, a year after the COC is submitted, the homeowner submits one final monitoring report. But otherwise, the site looked great for 141. And I know Pat and John are here if you have any questions for them on that end.
I don't have any questions. Anybody else have any questions? Nope, evidently not. So
It looks
seeing
great back
thumbs up.
there. I like it. I like the boulder wall actually worked out very well.
Great. It's been a wet July and it was wet last night and today.
Yeah.
So, all right. So do I hear a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 141 Deerfoot Road?
So moved.
Okay.
Here a second.
Second.
All in favor by roll call vote?
Watson,
Yes.
Guyer,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Gregory,
Yes.
Wittes,
Yes.
Pasamato.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and then we have a certificate of compliance request for stormwater management permit, 124 Deerfoot Road, and also for 133 Deerfoot Road.
Yes, so I think, and Pat and John, correct me if we're wrong, we're going to continue the discussion on 124. Fuss and O'Neill got back some comments today that we have forwarded off to them with some of their concerns on the review of 124 in the basin. I don't know, John, if you just want to do a quick overview of kind of what that was.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you are correct. We're looking to continue that because we just want to dig into the comments. Just from looking through them, I think the majority of them had previously been addressed. There was one with the basin size that I want to look into. I think they commented that it looked smaller than what was approved. I just want to confirm that and double check some of the calculations that were done. So we will get back on that, but I think the other comments that they had already been addressed.
Okay. So 124, we're going to table till next meeting.
26th, yes.
Okay. And 133?
133, Fuss and O'Neill also went out to review and had no comments. So they are satisfied with 133.
So did they have that comment?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
There's literally no.
Said no comment. So does that mean they're okay with it or not?
Yes.
Got it. All right. Any discussion?
There is a hand up, Mark, in the public if you are willing to bring them in.
Okay,
All right. There's Lisa. You should be able to unmute.
hello?
She's unmuted, but there's no sound coming.
We can't hear you.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes.
What just happened?
Can still hear you. Not anymore.
Maybe she couldn't hear us.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
What is going on?
We can hear you. Can you
Hold
hear
on,
us?
I've got multiple people now. Hold on one second. Or I think she's Lisa.
Hi there, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
I don't think she can hear us.
Okay, I'm gonna disable her talking and then try and bring her back in again. Hold on one sec. See if that helps along. Mark, I think Marguerite instead is trying to take her place. Is that okay if I allow Marguerite to speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, thank.
You're gone.
You're muted.
Marguerite?
Okay, now you hear, now you can hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, Lisa's trying to get on. I just had her on the phone. I think the problem is that the whole street is seeing that there's still a huge amount of water running off of 124.
124, we've continued.
Oh, okay, then which are we on now?
133.
Oh, okay. I think Julie's still having problems with the retaining ponds there.
That's 139.
Oh God, which one is 133? I can't keep. them straight.
133 is the first one on the right. As you're driving up from Route 9.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's fine. As far as I can tell, it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, so 124, our consultant, Fuss and O'Neill, had some comments. They've been provided back to the engineer, Bowler Civil Engineering. They've got some numbers to check. So that's been continued.
Okay, I'm off then if Lisa can't get on. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I mixed them up. Bye.
No worries. Okay, so for 133, it sounds like we're okay there, offering issuing a certificate of compliance. Okay, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor by roll call vote?
Watson,
Yes.
Guyer,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Gregory,
Yes.
Wittes,
Yes.
Pasamato.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, other business, let me see, our conservation agent report. Anything to report?
Nothing much, from the rain, I just asked a couple sites to refurbish their erosion controls, kind of nothing extraordinary. That's about it.
All right, great. And I guess we're losing our recording secretary, Katie. You're off to London to go to grad school.
So unfortunately for us, fortunately for her, she's on to a new adventure. I believe Vanessa, the assistant town administrator, is going to be posting the job tomorrow. I'm going to send it to MACC, and she's posting on the Mass Municipal Association website as well. So I just kind of wanted to give a thank you to Katie for her time with us.
For
And
having
I've
me.
appreciated all the help with the minutes.
Yeah, and I want to thank you as well. And you have shoes that are going to be very difficult to fill, not impossible.
Whereabouts in London are you going, Katie?
I'm going to the London School of Economics.
Oh my gosh. Very good. Very, very good. Congratulations. Wow. You'll love it. It's a great city.
Yeah, I'll miss you guys though.
So you're going to physically move there and go to grad school. You're not going to do any sort of a remote thing.
Yep.
Wow. Exciting stuff.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, good luck. And thank you for doing the minutes for us. You've been a tremendous help. Thank you. Other business as may rise. So I am on vacation holiday for our next meeting on the 26th.
Okay.
So I don't know if Ben is around, but I will not be available for that meeting.
Okay.
I think I had sent a note earlier in the summer when Judith reached out and said, hey, you know, here's what my calendar looks like, just as a heads up FYI. And I chimed in there as well. So
Yes, I have the doodle poll that everyone filled out. So I think we should be set for the next meeting. If not, then I will next week send out a different time for us to meet, or a different day.
yeah, so I am gone all that week. Actually, I'm gone
Okay.
from a week from tomorrow. I mean, 2 weeks from tomorrow. That entire week, not back until the following Monday.
On where? Where you headed out to?
Lake Winnipesaukee.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, we're we've got a campground right on the lake, so
Yeah.
we haven't decided to fly anywhere yet. We haven't decided to go in any hotels yet, so
Have a good time.
yeah. Hopefully we might get a sunny day or two. Keep our fingers crossed. They're hard to come by this summer.
For those of you that will be at the next meeting, is there a preference of Zoom versus in person, one way or the other?
It's getting tricky these days.
I know.
Yeah.
What is Zoom or?
No, not Zoom. Whether you want to do in person or Zoom.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, it's getting very tricky. I think we should just kind of play it by ear and see what happens, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, my
Has
company, we were going back to site on September 7th. And on Tuesday, they announced that that's been postponed indefinitely.
Yeah. You know, Massachusetts is now orange, if you know the coding, you know. we've
Yes,
gone
yeah.
From yellow to orange, you know, and
Yeah.
most of the country is red, you know, geez.
Yep. So,
Yeah, if anyone has any strong preferences at any point, feel free to send me an email or even a quick text saying you would prefer one way or the other, and we'll make it work.
yeah, as far as the, the state level legislation is concerned, we can continue virtual until, is it April?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's an acceptable meeting method.
Absolutely.
So, okay, with that, I think we're at the end. I'm going to jump off because I have another work meeting in half an hour. So
Yeah.
thanks for accommodating my schedule tonight, Melissa.
Mhm.
Okay, if nobody has anything else, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Watson,
Yes.
Guyer,
Yes.
Pete.
Yep.
Gregory,
Good night.
Wittes,
Good night.
Asimato.
Good night.
Thanks.
And